Welcome to Dot Question Mark, which aims at empowering learners by providing them quality education and guidance. This course for C++ shall continue until next 14 days, which cover topics from very extreme basics to advanced concepts. On 15th day, we have a code hackathon where we will prize top performers with goodies by Prep Bytes and Dot Question Mark. Apart from that, if you face any doubts, we're there to help you out over Telegram. I would like to thank Coach under LP organization, without whom this session would not have been possible. I would also like to thank IUCEE under Kelly organization for the immense contribution till this date. Further, I would like to thank our partners Prep Bytes for the contribution for the session. Now, I would like to call Kshitij Saini, co-founder of Dot Question Mark, and Dibya Sompuhan, project manager of Dot Question Mark, who will take this session forward.
Hello everyone, myself Sarthak Jain, co-founder Dot Question Mark, and today we are going to start with the amazing journey of this. Guys, I'm audible to you? Am I audible to you? Please ping in the chat if I'm audible to you. Hello everyone. Hello. Yeah, I'm audible to you. Okay, great guys, great. Okay, now I hand over this session to Mr. Kshitij Saini. Kshitij, please carry on the session. I think Kshitij, you are not audible. Kshitij, you are not audible, I think. Please
Okay. My mic was muted. Sorry for the. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So what we are going to do in the course? Let us discuss that. Let us discuss the course plan first. So we are going to start from the very of the basics, and we will start from basic computer fundamentals. Then we will proceed further with the programs and compiler and IDE setup. For now, I think the compiler and IDE setup video is available with all of you, and all of you have set up the compiler and IDE. Then what we are starting from now is the C++ basics, and then conditional loops and various of the things to come forward. I think all of you have gone through the course plan as well, which is shared in your respective groups. If it is not shared in your groups and you are at it new, then it will be shared soon in the Telegram channel. All of you join the Telegram channel, as all of the doubt sessions and everything will be covered in the Telegram session. And not only the it will be theoretical, it will also be a practical course where all of the knowledge will be given in practical manner as well, and it will also cover projects which you can add in your resume. So now let us start with the very of the first topic, which is basic computer fundamentals. And I would like to invite my teammate Dibya Sompuhan on the stage, and would like him to take the session further about the basic of the C++. Devisom, you can unmute yourself and start.
So hello everyone, I am excited that all of you have joined, and I can see all of you so excited. Thank you for that. So today we begin our first, the first step into C++. So the basic session about today is we'll give you some prerequisite knowledge, because we are starting from very basic. We know basic, definition of basic, sabke liye alag hota hai. But here we are starting from absolute basic. A very brief intro about how about how the computer CPU performs and understands your program. So with a brief introduction of our mentors, and with that being said, we are going to proceed with some prerequisite knowledge. And when I say prerequisite, I don't mean we expect कि तुम्हें पहले से prerequisite आती होगी. We will start from the prerequisite knowledge. So the most important information, I will keep it very short. We really don't want this to be a PPT and usko read karne wala session. We are going to be making this really interactive, and it will be really good if you ping your doubts as well. So basically, कंप्यूटर क्या होती है, सीपीयू के अंदर क्या क्या सेक्शंस होते हैं. द फर्स्ट एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शन इज कंट्रोल यूनिट. आई नो ये थोड़ा थियोरेटिकल है, बट ये सारे इंफॉर्मेशन को तुम अभी जब कोड करोगे, यू कैन रिलेट टू दिस. सो दिस इज I won't go into very details about all this stuff, but a gist about it. So coming to control unit, control unit is the most important part inside your CPU, and इसके तीन important function होते हैं. It fetch करना, decode करना, and execute करना. And basically fetch, decode, and execute means memory से, that is from your RAM, किसी program को उठाना, like उसको वहां से extract करना, to receive it from there. देन आता है डिकोड करने वाला प्रोसेस. एज यू कैन सी, डिकोड मींस वो जो इंस्ट्रक्शन उसने उठाया उस इंस्ट्रक्शन को इंटरप्रेट करना, समझना, एंड देन उसको एग्जीक्यूट करना. ये वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टास्क होता है कंट्रोल यूनिट का. एंड अदर देन दैट इट आल्सो कंट्रोल्स द डिफरेंट हार्डवेयर एंड आल्सो मूवमेंट ऑफ डेटा विद इन द सिस्टम, not on internet, within the system. Jitni data ki copy paste, all that data flow, movement from RAM to secondary storage, all that stuff is done by your control unit. Then comes another one of the most important, I guess I can turn on my pointer, yeah. Then comes another one of the most important section of your CPU, arithmetic logical unit. This arithmetic logical unit, also called ALU, ये सारी integer calculations करता है. Like it has a lot of different processing sections and it can do integer calculations. When I say integer, addition, subtraction, multiplication. Keep in mind, division नहीं करता. ALU division नहीं करता क्योंकि division में points आते हैं. So that is done by a different unit called I guess FPU, floating point unit, and that is a different part in some very basic deep inside the CPU. And here the arithmetical logical unit also takes logical decisions. मतलब जब तुम अपनी program में जब तुम conditions डालते हो, the ALU handles that. So now coming to registers. Registers are basically high speed memory within the CPU. CPU के पास अपनी खुद की कुछ हाई स्पीड मेमोरी इंटरफेसेस होती है ना. यू माइट आस्क, तुम्हारे पास रैम है, तुम्हारे पास इतनी अच्छी खासी SSD होती है, देन व्हाई रजिस्टर्स आर इम्पोर्टेंट. सो द रीजन इज दैट रजिस्टर के अंदर मतलब it is within the CPU, so the rate of data speed, data flow is very fast. And this is important क्योंकि CPU इसमें कुछ information store करता है, like address of the next instruction जो कि execute करने वाला है, the current instruction जो decode हो रहा है, and results of the current instructions. These kind of important information जो CPU को instantaneously access चाहिए, that are present within the registers. And other than that, they include program counters, memory address registers, memory data registers, but that is theoretical. We will jump directly to cache. And now cache is a, you might have even heard this. When you buy a CPU, तो उसके अंदर उसके नीचे तुम्हें उसकी cache rating मिलती है. And why is cache important? Sorry about that. Yeah. So why is cache important? Now cache is basically a very fast RAM. Like तुम्हारी जो RAM होती है, it works at 4400 megahertz. But other than that, CPU के अंदर अपना खुद का RAM होता है. It's called cache, and it is important because some informations which like some calculations which are going to be reused later, some temporary informations that is present inside RAM, and this is not simple RAM. This is very high speed RAM present inside CPU. उसके अलावा there are other basic stuff like bus. Bus is basically a high speed internet internal connection system, like through which the different components of the computer talk to the CPU. CPU always talks through the bus because it requires that high internal connection stream. And then there is something called clock. Now clock बहुत ज़्यादा interesting है, बहुत ज़्यादा. उसके हर CPU के अंदर अपने पास एक clock होता है जिसके थ्रू वो सबको synchronize करता है. And you might think why on earth does the CPU needs a clock? मैं तुम्हें एक बहुत interesting example देता हूँ. Let's say you are at your home, you are shopping, you are doing online shopping. तुम online shopping कर रहे हो Flipkart पे, and it is Big Billions Day. So what do you expect? Price बहुत ज़्यादा कम होगी, and therefore बहुत खतरनाक भीड़ होने वाली है, right? People are going to buy a lot of stuff instantaneously. So let's say there is one of your friend is sitting in America जिसमें time पीछे चल रही है, and you are in India जिसमें time थोड़ी आगे चल रही है, maybe a 1 or 2 hour difference, or let's just assume कि 30 सेकंड का difference है. So उसने purchase करा and आपने purchase करा, पहले किसको मिलेगा? Obviously उसको मिल सकता है क्योंकि वो उसका time 30 सेकंड पीछे है, right? But here comes synchronization. Synchronization makes sure that जिस instant पे वो कर रहा है उसी instant पे आपकी भी information process हो. All of you belong to the same clock, not on different time zones. So जब तुम इस चीज को कंप्यूटर के टर्म्स में सोचोगे तो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स वर्किंग इनसाइड सीपीयू, लाइक इट हैज टू कम्युनिकेट विद द रैम, इट हैज टू कम्युनिकेट एवरीथिंग. सबका टाइम स्पेस सेम करने के लिए देयर इज द क्लॉक. Now, I won't take more time on the theoretical section. This is where you can visualize how all the different components are talking. CPU है, CPU के अंदर अपनी register, control unit, arithmetical logical unit है, and CPU सबके साथ communicate करता है. किसी नॉर्मल तरीके से कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर रहा. देयर आर डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ बस. देयर इज अ कंट्रोल बस जहाँ पे सीपीयू कंट्रोल इंफॉर्मेशन देता है, लाइक इट गिव्स कमांड्स थ्रू दैट. इट इज एक्चुअली नोन एज अ मिसो एंड miso means master in, slave out. It's that kind of a communication. And then there is master out, slave in, MOSI, through which the components communicate with the CPU. And ये सब कुछ बस के थ्रू होता है. So just remember, if someone ever asks you how CPU communicates with different sections, it is a bus. Okay, someone asked in the doubt, how is clock maintained and as we travel from place to place? Okay, so that is why your phone has different time zones. It connects to the satellite and shows you the time in the zone in which you are present right now. Other than that, there is so that's about it. That's about how CPU communicates with the different sections, and the computer works as a whole. Moving to the next section. Okay, right now I'll hand over the session to Kshitish Bhaiya. After this slide is over, we'll discuss about translators and something more about basics of C++. Just give me a while. Yeah. So now there is something called a problem. This problem, the reason that this problem exists is computer बहुत ज़्यादा dumb है, right? Computer is बहुत ज़्यादा dumb. But also something else that is also true कि computer एक second में 3 times 10 raised to the power 9, that is almost 300 crores calculation कर सकता है एक second में. Now why am I saying 3 times 10 raised to the power 9? Because it depends upon तुम कौन से प्रोसेसर पे हो. तुम जब प्रोसेसर परचेज करते हो, तुम जब लैपटॉप परचेज करते हो, एक नंबर लिखी रहती है उस पे. योर प्रोसेसर इज 3.0 GHz, 2.5 GHz, 2.8 GHz. It means it can do 2.8 giga calculations in a second. That is the CPU cycle, CPU frequency in which it is working. So now we know computer can do extremely fast calculations, a lot of calculations in a single second. There are atomic computers which can do teraflops, but which works in teraflops. But the problem is it is dumb. It can do a lot of stuff. वो भाग सकता है, दौड़ सकता है, but उसको ये नहीं पता उसको कहाँ जाना है. It has no idea what to do. So to do that, we exist. We are programmers, which we tell the computer what to do and how to do, and the programmer will and the computer वो अपनी processing power का utilize करेगा हमारे instructions को execute करके, very very rapid results generate करने के लिए. So here's you always hear, तुम हर जगह सुनते होगे computer सिर्फ binaries में बात करता है. So उसका reason ये है. I will point my pointer or laser right there. Computer circuits से बना हुआ है, उसके अंदर physical circuits हैं, and ये circuits basically transistors हैं. You might be hearing in the news right now कि Intel ने 10 nanometer processor बना दिया, AMD ने 8 nanometer processor बना दिया. Okay, I'm getting in hurry. Okay, I reduce my pace. So तुम मार्केट में सुन रहे होगे AMD ने ये प्रोसेसर बना दिया इतनी नैनोमीटर, 8 नैनोमीटर, 10 नैनोमीटर. दैट इज बेसिकली साइज ऑफ द ट्रांजिस्टर. एंड जितनी छोटी होगी एक छोटे सीपीयू के अंदर उतनी ज्यादा ट्रांजिस्टर्स आ सकती हैं, राइट? सो द रीजन इज दैट सीपीयू के अंदर बहुत सारी ट्रांजिस्टर्स हैं, एंड इन ट्रांजिस्टर्स के ऑन या ऑफ स्टेट के बेसिस पे वो इन्फॉर्मेशन को रीड करता है और प्रोसेस करता है. So definitely we don't know how to write in binary, right? हम binary में नहीं लिख सकते. हमें English लिखना आता है and we can follow rules. We can do that. Currently shortage of transistors. Yeah, that's very true. NVIDIA is out of stock. There is no GPU in the market. Anyways, coming back to the topic, transistor is a tiny switch that is activated by electronic signals that it receives. इसकी mechanical electrical details में नहीं जाऊँगा, but I will just say if you convert your program into binary, the CPU can understand it, वरना वो नहीं समझ सकता. So now comes the problem. हमें बाइनरी लिखना नहीं आता. हमें हेलो वर्ल्ड हम बोल सकते हैं हेलो वर्ल्ड, हम बोल सकते हैं पीसी को प्रिंट हेलो वर्ल्ड, बट हम उसको ये चीज़ बाइनरी में कैसे बोलें? Definitely, if we think about it, it is a major problem, right? We don't know how to do that. And if we think about it, like if we really think about this problem, अगर हम प्रोग्राम को बाइनरी में लिखने पे आ गए, then अगर हम प्रोग्राम को बाइनरी में लिखने पे आ गए, then प्रोग्राम की लॉजिक कैसे सोचेंगे? Because writing in binary is a very difficult stuff. If we think about that, then we cannot focus on the real problem. So to do that, enter into the picture translator. So translator is a very, very cool thing. What translator does, and today during the live programming session, I will also show you how translator converts it and उसकी output क्या होती है translator की. I'm not talking about the output of the program. मैं तुम्हें translator का converted code दिखाऊंगा, the machine code. Cool. So basically what a translator does is it converts the source code. Now source code is basically वो code जो तुमने लिखा है. It is high level language. The thing that you write, it is called high level language. It is written in English and you can understand that. Well, I'm telling English, I'm saying that you can write it in English and the computer cannot understand that. So, and we just discussed, the computer only understands binaries. So that is why translators exist. तुम्हारे पास source code है, तुम्हें लिखना आता है and you know the rules. अब उस source code को हमें compiler में input देंगे and the compiler is going to convert it into binary code, or the technical term, the more technical term for that is called object code. बीच में एक assembly level code होता है, but we don't need to worry about that. We have compilers for that, right? So compiler or a translator basically converts our source code into object code. Source code is the thing that you have written in high level English language, and the object code and the translator is going to take that as an input and convert it into binary, or the technical term for which is called object code. And this object code, once it is in binary, the processor can understand that, and now we can utilize that high raw horsepower of the CPU. So congrats for that, because now we can utilize that kind of power. It's not that big deal. It has been existing for more than 30 years, but yeah, it is interesting to know about what translators do and how much pain they are saving us. So now here comes the most important section. There are two types of translators, compiler and interpreter. So the compiler converts the entire code in one go. Let's say you have a code of 100 lines, and अगर तुम कंपाइलर यूज कर रहे हो, पूरी कोड एक बार में कन्वर्ट होगी एंड सारे एरर एक बार में आएंगे. इसमें तुम्हें प्रॉब्लम दिख रहा होगा, इसमें डीबग करना डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है. अगर तुम्हारे कोड में किसी लाइन में एरर है, तुम उसको ट्रेस कैसे करोगे? तुम्हारा कोड तो एक ही बार में बाइनरी में कन्वर्ट होगी एंड सारे एरर्स एक साथ तुम्हें दिखा दिए गए. थोड़ा सा आइडिया कंपाइलर बता देता है इन्फॉर्मेशन, किस लाइन पे प्रॉब्ली किस एरिया में रीजन में डिफेक्ट है, बट मोस्टली इट इज डिफिकल्ट टू debug when you're using a compiler. So there is another solution to that. There is interpreter. Interpreter converts the code line by line and stops the execution if an error is detected. So you will fix that error and then run the interpreter again, and then it will move on, execute the entire code line by line, and that's how it helps in debugging. It is compiler is faster क्योंकि वो एक बार में convert करेगा and your execution time is faster. Interpreter's execution time is slower, but debugging is easier. So everyone has their advantages and disadvantages. Okay, someone just asked difference between compiler and interpreter. Okay, so that's the difference. Basically, compiler takes your entire source code as an input and converts it into binary or object code at once, and it will then display sare errors ek sath. That is the difference. I mean, that's the first most basic difference. And then second difference is debugging is difficult. Debugging basically means तुम्हारा कोड, किसी का भी कोड एक बार में पूरा करेक्ट नहीं होता, कोई ना कोई सिंटैक्स या लॉजिकल एरर होगी. Now when you're using a compiler, decoding that or correcting that syntax error is difficult, because compiler तुम्हें सारी की सारी syntax error पूरी 100 लाइन की या more than 100, obviously it is going to be more than 100 lines or 1000 lines, all the different errors will be at once displayed to you. And अब तुम खुद बताओ, तुम सारी एरर्स को देख के कैसे ही करेक्ट कर सकते हो? याद भी नहीं होगा कौन से लाइन पे व्हाट कोड है. Hence there is interpreter. What it does, it converts the code line by line, and then wherever error is detected, it will stop the conversion, it will ask you to correct the error, and only then it will proceed further. So that's the difference. converts entire code at once. Interpreter converts line by line. Compiler debugging is difficult because all errors are shown at once. Interpreter debugging is easier because conversion stops when error is encountered. Yeah. Okay, well, I will try to switch between English and Hindi. And now I'll like to hand over the session to Kshitij Saini sir. He will explain you this programming paradigm in details. Kshitij sir, you just unmute yourself once.
So till now, what you have covered is the basic of programming and how a program is compiled, how a program is executed, and now you will be thinking कि हम programming की तरफ क्यों नहीं चल रहे हैं. So first of all, before proceeding to programming, let us know about the various programming paradigms, because programming paradigms play a very important role. प्रोग्रामिंग पैराडाइम हमको बता रहा है कि हमको कोड करना कैसे, एक कोड करना है, कोड करना कैसे, ये चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अब कोड कैसे करना है ये हमको बताते हैं. 3 अप्रोच है मेन अपनी. वन इज मोनोलिथिक, वन इज प्रोसीजरल एंड वन इज ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड. अब इन तीनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? मोनोलिथिक इज लाइक कि ये मेरा कोड है, ये मैंने सारा का सारा एक साथ एक कोड लिख दिया, एंड दिस इज मोनोलिथिक. इसके अंदर सबसे बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज क्या है कि अगर मेरा सारा का सारा कोड एक साथ लिखा हुआ है, इफ ऑल ऑफ माय कोड इज इन वन सिंगल प्लेस, देन ओनली वन ऑफ द डेवलपर कैन वर्क and multiple developers will not be able to work on the code. But now proceeding to the procedural programming. In procedural programming, we use different functions. Like one function is adding 2 numbers. This is a function. Then another function, it is subtracting 2 numbers. So this will be a different function. So we will divide the project or the code based on some of the functionalities. So these are 3 different functions, and these 3 different functions will be created to achieve 3 different functionality. And then finally we will have a single piece of code where we will execute these functions. So this is the procedural approach. Here each of the function can be developed by different of the developers. Now 3 of the developers can work simultaneously on the project and develop the program, and then they can combine the functions into a single project. So this is the procedural programming approach. Now, if procedural programming is so good and if the functions are already present, then why we need to go to object-oriented programming? Now let us understand the object-oriented programming. So in object-oriented programming, what we do, we will combine different of the similar objects together. For example, if you want to make a program where you are exchanging cash for some of the goods, for example, let something be cash and another thing be a car. So you are exchanging cash for car. So there will be different properties for cash and there will be different properties for car, and they will not match. So what we will do, we will group the properties of cash together in one of the class, and we will group the properties of car in another class. So what will this class contain? This class will contain all the functions related to the cash thing. For example, amount add, balance subtract, or some of the thing ki cash amount ki kitne ki currency hai, 500, 1000, 2000. These will be functions of the cash, and there will be some functions of the car, like car is moving, the car has an engine, the car has some of the specifications. These will be the functionality of the car. So what we will do, we will define the functionality of cash and car in different way, and we will combine them to form a single program, and this will be our main program. So there are 3 of the main programming paradigms which we are following. Monolithic programming was used very old. In some of the languages like C, the procedural programming is used, but in most of the recent languages that are advanced languages, they use the concept of object-oriented programming. For example, C++, Java, Python, that you all are following, and they are one of the most जिससे ही काम किया जा रहा है आजकल, यही लैंग्वेज है. तो ये सारी लैंग्वेज आज के टाइम में ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड पैराडाइम को फॉलो कर रही हैं. सो वी विल आल्सो फॉलो द ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड पैराडाइम, and we will start from the basics of procedural programming, and then we will proceed further to the object-oriented programming as well. So this course will contain the object-oriented programming concepts as well. Now let us see. अभी ये तो चीज हमने देख ली कि ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड है या है, कंपाइलर भी है, तो ये कंपाइलर और बाकी सारी चीजें बैकएंड पे काम कैसे करेंगे, हाउ दे आर वर्किंग. First of all, what we will do, we will edit the code by writing it in our PC. So editing part, which means the writing of the code part takes place at the first. Then we compile the code in case of compiled language. Now we are discussing it for compiler based languages, not for the interpreter based languages. As C++ is a compiler based languages, so we are discussing it for the compiler based languages. Then we compile the code. What compiling the code will do, it will generate an object file of the code, and object file will be created. Now, if some of you are familiar with the C++ coding or any of the language C or C++, then we need to include hashtag include iostream or hashtag include stdio.h. So what after compiling, an object code will be created. What compiling do? Compiling will check the syntax एंड द सिंटैक्स विल बी चेक. मतलब कि एक ग्रामर है, हिंदी या इंग्लिश की ग्रामर है मेरे पास. अब मेरे को मैंने कंपाइल कर दिया, तो उसने वो ग्रामर चेक करी कि अभी जो मैंने काम किया, जो मैंने चीज लिखी, वो चीज ठीक भी है कि नहीं है, और वो चीज ठीक भी है तो कितनी ठीक है, उसके अंदर जो मेरी ग्रामर, इज द ग्रामर करेक्ट. सो व्हाट कंपाइलिंग डज, इट चेक if the grammar is correct or not. After checking the grammar, if the grammar is correct, then it will proceed further to the linking part. And what linking does, linking will add the libraries which we have included, like iostream or stdio. So these libraries will be included in the linking part. After linking, we will get a executable file, exe file or .sh file for Linux systems. And what is loading now? If the file has formed, if the final executable has formed, now the executable, जो हमारी executable file है, वो हमारी hard disk में store होगी. That will be stored in the hard disk. But when our program is executing, it has to be present in the RAM. So हमारा loading क्या करेगा, हमारे प्रोग्राम को हमारी हार्ड डिस्क से उठा के हमारी रैम पे लेके आएगा. सो दिस इज द फंक्शन ऑफ लोडिंग. What it will do, it will take the program from hard disk and it will move it to RAM. And RAM में आने के बाद अब तो प्रोग्राम को एग्जीक्यूट करना है. Then execution take place and the output will be displayed on your screen. So this is the basic approach that we are using. Now let us take some of the queries which you guys have. Someone has asked about the OOP and the procedural programming concept. Don't worry guys, if you have understood the OOP and procedural programming concept, they are very great. But if you have not understood these concepts, we will cover them in very depth in the course. It was basic about the object-oriented programming and procedural programming, but you will get to know about these very well in the course. Also, if you have some of the doubts, you can ping here and we will be happy to take the doubts. So this was all about the basic of the programming and how a program is developed and how it is executed. तो यही था. अब आगे चलते हैं. हमें पहला अपना C++ का प्रोग्राम बनाते हैं. I think all of you have set up the IDE and MinGW compiler in your system, or any of the IDE and any of the compiler. Okay, linker once again. Rajkumar has asked the function of linker once again. Let us let us discuss the complete functionality once again. Let me clear it. So starting from the editing. अभी हम एडिटिंग फेज में हैं, और एडिटिंग फेज में क्या होता है, हमारा कोड हमारे ये अपने IDE में है. IDE, our code is in the IDE part, and in IDE what we are doing, we are writing the code. So the writing of the code is done in the editing part. We are writing the code. We can use any of the like thing like Visual Studio Code or Dev C++ or even Notepad for writing the code. Now after writing the code, अब अगर मैं एक सिंपल सी बात करूं तो आपने इंग्लिश बोल दी, like name my is Kshitij. So this is a incorrect sentence. So what we will have to do, we will have to check the syntax of the code which we have written. And what compiling does, compiling will check the syntax of the thing. it will check the syntax if the grammar is correct. Like English language and Hindi language have some of the grammar, so our programming also have grammar, and the compiling part will check the grammar, and if the code which we have written is according to the grammar or not. Now, what is linking? If compiler is checking what is the syntax, what linking does, it imports the header files. Header files are what thing? Now let us come to the header files. There are some of the code like C++ है यार एक language है. C++ is language, but C++ also has some built-in code because machines can only understand the binary. तो जिस लैंग्वेज में लिखा हुआ है हमारा C++, तो C++ को भी तो हमको कॉल करना ही पड़ेगा. तो जितनी भी हमारी हेडर्स हैं, जो भी हमारी बेसिक फंक्शनैलिटी चाहिए होती है हमारी प्रोग्राम को रन करने के लिए, दैट इज डिफाइंड इन द हेडर फाइल्स, एंड C++ विल कॉल दोस फाइल्स एंड विल मर्ज इट इनटू आवर प्रोग्राम. तो लिंकिंग क्या करता है कि हमारी फाइल्स के साथ जो हमारा कोड है, इस कोड के साथ हमारी एडिशनल फाइल्स जो हमारे प्रोग्राम की वर्किंग के लिए रिक्वायर्ड है, it will merge it and it will create a single file. So this is the work of linking. And till this part, in this part, the code is not in RAM. Actually the compiling and linking part happens in RAM, but the code is stored in hard disk only in this part. But in loading part, we move the code from RAM to from hard disk to RAM, and execution take place further at last, where the code is run and the output is shown on the screen. And this is the process in which the program works. And if you are not familiar, if you have some of the queries, let us wait till end of the session and take all the queries over there. Also, if you are still facing any queries, you can ask on Telegram, and you will get to know these things further as we proceed further in the session. Now let us compile our first C++ program, and let us invite Divyasam on the stage to compile our first program.
Hello. Can someone give me a quick confirmation that I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So thank you, Kshitij sir, for that. And let's begin with the coding section. Yeah, let me just present my screen again.
Kunal, regarding
Okay,
the
cool.
heap memory and the stack memory, we will discuss about the heap memory and stack memory in very detail. So please wait till we discuss that thing. Divyasam, you can take over the session.
Yeah, thank you. So let's code. But wait, before that, we have something worth noting, right? We just don't want to directly go into coding. We just want to make sure all of us are on the same page before we start coding. So the first thing is, we just discussed about libraries. As Satish has said, libraries are important. They are pre-compiled codes, and they are linked. They are inserted into the code during the linking phase. But what exactly are libraries? Libraries होती क्या चीज़ है? हम उसे use क्यों करना चाहते हैं? Most of us here, C++ हमने पढ़ा भी होगा. बहुत लोगों ने दूसरे languages use करे होंगे. You might be knowing libraries को हम import करते हैं, and we can then use them for different functionalities. But libraries actually होती क्या? It is basically a huge code. Normally it is a huge code. It is a package of code जिसको हम import करते हैं to make our life easier, so that we don't have to write everything from scratch again. For example, when you have a code and you want to display its output, you don't have to write the exact code which communicates with your monitor, then transfers that text to the monitor and displays it in the terminal of the user. We don't do that. We just write one line. We'll see how to do that. We just write one line and our code is visible. Hota kaise hai? That is where these libraries come into play. They handle a lot of painful stuff for us so that we can do it easily. That is just a one-line definition about libraries. A technical definition is that it's a package of code that is meant to be used by many programs. It does some kind of functions which is mostly necessary by a lot of different programs when we write. Like we need to show output, we need a library for that. We need to do some specific kind of calculation, we need a library for that. you want to apply an algorithm, you will need a library for that. So for most of the work that you want to do, तुम्हें एक library मिल ही जाएगी, because C++ is a very old language and community works on it to develop new libraries, right? So that is what libraries are. And here's one important function which you should remember, and it is mostly asked in placement questions about C++. Is, you know, we just discussed the entire, like the Sititsa showed you the entire process जिससे your C++ code is getting executed, all the different phases. You know, there were 5 different phases: editing, compiling, linking, loading, execution. Now, don't you think if you have a code, like your code is going through all that 5 phases, and then let's say your code uses 5 different libraries. So if you're using 5 different libraries, don't you think that is a huge process? Like when your code is loaded, all those 5 libraries will also be going through all that 5 phases. You know, lots of steps, and there will be a huge waiting time before you actually hit the button to execute, and before your output is actually visible. So we don't want that to happen, because we know library क्या काम करती है, हमें पता है library एक fixed काम करती है. So rather than compiling it every time, क्यों ना उसको पहले से compile करके रख दें, है ना, बहुत ज्यादा टाइम सेव होगा. उसको पहले से कंपाइल करके रख देते हैं, एंड जब उसकी नीड होगी उसको डायरेक्टली एज इट इज उठा लेंगे, क्योंकि उसके कंपाइलिंग की नीड नहीं है, इट इज ऑलरेडी इन बाइनरी. So that is exactly why I've written this line here. It is pre-compiled into machine language. Remember this, it is very important, cannot emphasize it on more. It is pre-compiled into machine language, and that is why linking is a very fast process, because it just dumps that pre-compiled code into your existing code. Okay, and before with that, I will just go for some more doubts if there are any. Best import bits std c++.h. Exactly, it's a collection of all the C++ libraries. So C++ works on a compiler, but it also shows error that on which line our error is there, and whereas interpreter language like Python just highlights the particular line. So what's the difference? Yeah, compilers have become better. See, the definition of compiler is that it compiles the entire code at once, but you know, this has been being worked on for more than 30 to 40 years right now, and within this period compilers have developed a lot. And definitely earlier it was a problem, but right now a lot of development has been done, and it has you know, become better in actually debugging and showing you where the error is. But still interpreter is better. We'll see some differences when we code, but not that these differences are very you know, significant or visible. Yeah, in some compilers we need using namespaces, and we don't. What is the main working and need? Exactly, we'll talk about namespaces right now. So before jumping into the next topic, that is namespaces, I would like to show you how to import a library into our code. You can see here I've written the syntax to import. You say hashtag import and then library name within arrow brackets. So let's do that. Let's not just talk about the syntax, let's write the code for that. So I'll go to VS Code, and you can go to whichever like IDE you're comfortable on. I'll go to VS Code because that is what I guess is the easiest platform to write the code. Can someone give me a quick confirmation if my font is visible to all of you, or I should zoom in more? Okay, someone said yo. Thank you.
Dibisham, please zoom it a little bit.
Okay. Okay, I hope it is visible now, or I will zoom in. Cool. So now let's write our first code. So how to write our first code? First of all, you can just open any empty directory, right? You can make any empty folder, and I have already made a folder here. I've named it day1. So what I'll do is I'll right click on it and I'll say new file. I'll name the file hello.cpp. Now the .cpp name is important because that is how your you know, compiler is going to understand कि ये एक C++ program की source code है, and I'll hit enter. So now I am inside hello.cpp file, and I'm going to edit it. So right now I'm on the editing phase. So first thing, the most important thing, which I think is even more important, कि तुम्हें code लिखने से पहले तुम्हें comments लिखना आने चाहिए, because you know, being a developer, when you write a code, you are in a different thought process. तुम एक दूसरे world में हो. You are thinking things differently. You are thinking very logically, very mathematically. When you come to this code back again, और तुम 2 दिन बाद अपनी code को पढ़ोगे, तुम्हें कुछ नहीं समझ आने वाला. I can guarantee you that. Even I cannot understand it a lot of times. So that is why comments are very important. Whatever you write, just add a bit comment there, a tiny tad of comment there, so that next time when you come, you will understand what is that. I hope that is that is a problem which all of you, most of you might have faced, right? So there's an easy way to write a comment. What I'll say is I'll just write whatever I want to do. Hello there. This is my first CPP code. Cool. And here's how you add a comment wrap. First thing, the most easiest way is like you can directly go manually line ke end starting mein and do front slash add karo. But you can do that if you are on other IDEs. On VS Code, there is a shortcut. Just press Control plus front slash, and it will automatically comment that out for you. Let's say, what I have is I have 5 lines of code. मैं सबको एक साथ select करूँगा and I will press Control plus front slash. VS Code will comment everything for me in one go. So I'll just remove that again because we don't really need 5 comments. Okay, so hello there. This is my first CPP code, and let's import a library. Let's import a library. So we just saw the syntax. We know what is a library is. Library is basically एक लंबी सी बड़ी सी कोड जो हमारे लिए एक बहुत डिफिकल्ट टास्क बहुत इजी वे में करने के लिए हेल्प करती है. वो पहले से कंपाइल्ड है. इट इज ऑलरेडी इन बाइनरी. डज नॉट नीड टू बी कंपाइल्ड. तो उसमें कोई एरर तुम्हें नहीं आएगा, राइट? तुम्हें उसमें कोई एरर नहीं आएगा. तुम्हें उसे सिर्फ इंपोर्ट करना है. एंड द वे यू इंपोर्ट दैट इज यू राइट #import library name. So let's do that. Let's import our first library. I'll add a comment importing library. Now let's import our first library in the same syntax as we just saw in the slide. I'll say #include, and within this let's include our first library. I'll say IOStream. IOStream is the first library that we want to use now. It is simple and it has I want to show you a specific problem which you will encounter if you don't use namespaces, right? So here's how you write a C++ code. The first and the most important thing is, even if it has no libraries, doesn't matter. The first and the most important thing is it should have a function called main. This is one second. Yeah, this is where your compiler will start execution. When you execute, when you give this code to the OS, this is the starting point from where your code is executed. This is the pivot, the parent function, the godfather. बोल सकते हो, it is the godfather which is going to control and run everything else. So main is very important. There is an alternative of without writing main, but it's more of a hack rather than being the ethical way. How to set directory in VS Code? Okay, so very easy. Right click anywhere and just say new folder and name it my directory or anything that you want to name. Just hit enter and you have a new directory. Cool. I hope. Okay, explain void. Yeah, I'm coming to that exactly. So I just wrote int main void. Now I know not all of you are exposed to C++ format already. I'll describe it for you. So basically what I'm telling is this is a function. Don't worry about functions. What are functions exactly? We'll discuss that in details very soon, probably in 2 to 3 days. I'll just give you a gist here because this is the basic syntax that we need to run a C++ code. So I just said integer, or that is int. That is how you spell integer in C++ syntax. Then I say main. This name main is important. If main is not there, then when you run the C++ code, कुछ होगा नहीं. Because this when you run this code, जो तुम्हारा OS है, जो execute कर रहा है, और it will look out for the main, the name main. Only then it will start execution. And compiler links to this. That is why it is the parent function. Extension does matter in C++. Okay, so I'll take the doubts as the last. Cool. Now within this I have said void. It means इसको कुछ input नहीं मिलने वाली. Now there are other different things called command line arguments that you can mention here. We'll look into that later. But for our first code, we will use void, and for most of the code, we will use void because command line argument is not really necessary right now. So I have a function I've named its return type. It is integer. It is going to return an integer. Now the reason that I have written int there is because मुझे यहाँ पे ये line लिखना ज़रूरी है. Optional है, but लिखना is a good practice. And then I write all this function. जो भी मेरे main function का content होगा, it will be within this curly braces. Cool. Everyone in the same page till now, or we have any doubts? Main is an inbuilt function or user defined? That's a very good question. Main is a user defined function, but your compiler searches for the main function as the parent function. That is what is going to be executed first. So the compiler looks for it when executing your code. So main is user defined, but if you don't include the main function, your code won't work. Now there is a way in which it works, but it is a hack. So the ethical way that main should be there, and it is a user-defined function. We can write int main as well. Exactly, we can write int main as well. Basically, void just makes clear and makes the program more readable. कि ये कुछ accept नहीं कर रहा. If I leave it blank, it will be ambiguous, right? कुछ ले भी सकता नहीं भी ले सकता. So. But color does not change. Yeah, my color is like this because I'm using extensions. You can install Babel script for that. Why use IOStream instead of stdio? Okay, now coming back to the code, and that question was good. Why use stdio? Well, stdio is the way through which C language uses printf and scanf. You can also use that here. If I use a hashtag include stdio.h, it's not going to be a problem. It will work same. But the thing is that it's actually a part of C language, and it's totally up to you if you want to use that. I'll comment that out for now, and we'll see how to use it later. Just so you know, C++ is a superset of C. Basically, C++ is the daddy function of C, you can say. So whatever C can do, C++ can already do that. तुम अपने direct C language का code बिना कुछ change के directly C++ पे run कर सकते हो. Now I'll come to writing the first code of our session today. So we have already included our library. We have defined the main function, and we are returning 0 here. Now, just a quick note, the reason that we are writing 0 here is that this tells the compiler, this tells the OS that program execution was successful. Now, why is this important? Because OS is a very, organized software. I won't say software. It's, it works, depends on, it controls a lot of different stuff. Like I cannot even count. It controls memory, it controls RAM, it controls physical memory, it communicates with the hardware, the bare metal processor, everything. And now it needs exact information about everything. So when you say return 0, it means the program was completely executed, right? Because जब main function खत्म होगा, the program execution खत्म होता है. तो खत्म होने से पहले तुम्हें OS को बताना होता है कि program execution was successful. And 0 in OS signals is basically means a successful execution. And okay. So looking to the doubts, return 0 क्यों कर रहे हैं? Exactly. So I hope that answers your question, and it's a good question. Return 0 is important, and also if you don't write return 0, the compiler will automatically add it, so it's not going to be a problem. Okay, now let's write our first program. We want to print a simple statement, hello from DQ, right? I just want to print this out. This is my question. Print hello from DQ into the screen. Okay, while I do that, can someone give me a quick information if my pace is high or low, or I should slow down a bit? What if we return 1? I'll show you that. If we return 1, it's going to create a kind of error, but that won't be a problem because it is the last section. Okay, you're correct. Thank you. So let's write our first code, how to print hello from DQ, or you can literally use any string here, totally up to you. So now coming to that, the way that you print something in C++ is that you have to write Cout. Cout is the syntax or the keyword that is going to tell the compiler what that print out whatever follows, and then you have to use this less than symbol. Basically it's in C++, इसको हम operators में बहुत details में पढ़ेंगे आज ही, और within day or two, according to what time permits. This is actually a right shift operator. The technical name is right shift operator. It's here you can assume कि जो भी हम अभी within this double quotes में देने वाले हैं, it is going to dump that into the output buffer. I'll talk about the buffer in a while. Let's write the code. Let's just quickly write the code. Okay, so this is how you print something out into the terminal, to the user screen. So I have cout. It basically means whatever follows, write that out into the terminal. Now within double quotes, I'm going to say hello from dot question mark. Excited to have all of you. Okay, now you see these cout and end line. इसके नीचे यार ये तो गलत बता रहा है. Identifier, if in VS Code, if where there is an error, you can hover your mouse over that and तुम्हें उसकी reason बताएगा error का. You can see identifier cout is undefined. So before correcting this mistake, let me tell you what is identifier and what are keywords. A very brief introduction about identifier and keywords. Something of note, continued. Identifier is basically कंप्यूटर के अंदर within a code कुछ चीजों का बहुत logical and बहुत big definition होता है, right? You don't always want to use that entire big address to execute it, क्योंकि सब कुछ PC में एक address पे store होता है. You don't always want to use that address to access that value. So उसलिए identifier exist करते हैं. With the identifier, you can give a name to anything and then you can use it wherever required. Very simple. There are some rules to give an identifier. Basically, you have to remember that identifier एक alphabet से start होना चाहिए या फिर underscore से, and उसमें special character supported नहीं होता. And you can add any number of digits that you want. Now comes the important thing, keyword. So what is a keyword? जैसे क्षितिज भाई ने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले सचिन सर ने explain करा था, like there is a syntax in C++. There is syntax in every language. So what is syntax? All of us here understand English, Hindi. अगर तुम्हारे सामने कोई गलत हिंदी या गलत इंग्लिश बोलेगा, तुम्हें कुछ अजीब लगेगा, right? You can understand that. And similarly, C++ compiler basically looks for that syntax. जिस चीज को हम इंग्लिश या हिंदी में ग्रामर बोलते हैं ना, उसी को प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में syntax बोलते हैं. So basically, if we use wrong syntax, the compiler is going to identify it and it will take offense. वो हमें बताएगा कि यहाँ पे गलती है, इसको ठीक करो, वरना मैं execute नहीं हो रहा हूँ. And apart from that, apart from the syntax, there is something called keywords. So what are keywords? Keywords are basically certain reserved words which has a special meaning to the compiler. I'll try to explain this in terms of English and Hindi. For example, तुम अपने दोस्तों का नाम जानते हो, राइट? तुम अपने दोस्तों का नाम जानते हो. तुम्हारे दोस्तों का जो नेम है ना, उसको तुम आइडेंटिफायर मान लो. So let's say your name, I will pick one of the last chat. It is Pawan. So Pawan, let's say Pawan has lot of friends. Pawan has 10 friends. No, 10 will be. I have to think about lot of names. Pawan has 5 friends. Let's say Pawan has 5 friends, and उन सबका नाम होगा रमेश, सुरेश, etc. So now, if Pawan wants to call Ramesh, let's say Pawan wants to call Ramesh. So what will he do? He will go to Ramesh and call him. Ramesh, listen, I have something to tell you, right? So that is easy. That is easy, right? You don't have to. Do you have to refer to Paresh as the boy of standard 12 living in that particular house in this city, in that district, in that time? No, we don't do that. हमारे पास एक simple तरीका है, हम उसको उसके नाम से बुला लेते हैं. So I hope this will help you to relate why identifiers are important. In your code, you don't have to say that value with this constant literal defined there. You don't have to use that in that address, memory address. Rather, we have identifiers. And here comes keywords. Keywords here, English या हिंदी में we have a grammar, right? And grammar में कुछ चीजें reserved होती हैं. For example, तुम्हारे दोस्त का नाम कुछ भी हो सकता है, रमेश, सुरेश, अंकुर, आरुषि, शिवम. I'm picking all the names from chat. So these names are logical. ये तुम use करते हो as a name. But what if आज तुम्हारे सामने एक इंसान आ जाता है जो बोलता है कि मेरा नाम चिटोज है, जो बोलता है कि मेरा नाम अंडरस्टैंड है, मेरा नाम ही वर्ड इम्पोर्टेंट, मेरा नाम है अंडरस्टैंड, मेरा नाम है लैंग्वेज। तुम्हें अजीब नहीं लगेगा किसी का नेम लैंग्वेज हो सकता है? नहीं, राइट? क्योंकि तुम्हें पता है लैंग्वेज मीन्स अ वे ऑफ टॉकिंग, अ वे ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग। इट इज अ रिजर्व वर्ड, कोई और इंसान वो नाम नहीं ले सकता। आई होप यू कैन रिलेट टू दिस. Exactly. My name is green. My name is red. You cannot do that. You are not Among Us ke characters. You are not, language ke sections. You are individuals. You have names. These names are called identifiers. And keywords are that reserved things which have a special meaning. Like अगर मैं किसी को बोलता हूँ यहाँ पे बैठ जा, बैट किसी का नाम नहीं हो सकता. बैट इज अ वर्ब, उसको हम बोल करने के लिए बोल रहे हैं और उसको पता है बैठने का मतलब क्या है. इट इज अ कीवर्ड, सबको पता होता है. व्हाट इज दैट? Exactly. Land, water, air. किसी का नाम land, water, air थोड़ी हो सकता है. So I hope you can relate to this and understand why our keywords and identifiers are different and why keywords have a special meaning to the compiler. जैसे for तुम्हारे लिए तुम्हारे language का कोई एक एक word का special meaning होता है. बैठना, खाना, उठना, सोना, रोना. Similarly, compiler के लिए कुछ चीजें की special meanings होती हैं. Now I'll come back to the code. Here you can see int, main, void, include. These are highlighted in different colors because they have special meaning to the compilers. So those are keywords. And now here comes the problem. Here cout is not a keyword, it is an identifier. Here cout and endl, and basically endl, sorry about that. Basically endl here is a short form for end line. So these are identifiers here. Now the problem is when I click my mouse over there, you can see identifier cout is undefined. So what does that mean? It is saying कि तुमने इस पूरे कोड में cout नाम का कोई चीज डिक्लेयर ही नहीं किया, तुम उसको यूज कैसे कर सकते हो? That's the problem, and it is true. तुम्हें ऊपर कहीं पे नहीं दिखेगा. We have never used that. Now the reason is that IOStream एक बहुत big code है, ठीक है? It is a very big code which we are importing. It is already pre-compiled. We don't need to worry उसमें क्या errors, कुछ उसमें कोई errors नहीं है, तभी वो successfully compiled है. So this is a pre-compiled code. I'll add that here for you. To refer later. It is a compiled code, pre-compiled code. So that is IOStream. And IOStream के अंदर कहीं पे ये value defined है cout. इसकी meaning क्या है? ठीक है? उसके अंदर defined है. I hope this makes sense. Within IOStream library, we have something called cout defined. But the problem is हमने उसको import कर लिया and our code is not understanding that value because it is defined in some other code called IOStream. Now, how to do that? How to use that? One of the easy fixes that we can use scope resolution operator. So how to do that? Well, I'll give you something of knowledge. IOStream के अंदर एक particular region होता है, एक particular namespace है जो कि इन सारे values को define करता है. And it is called STD, standard. STD, and I will use double colon. I'll use double colon. This double colon operator means scope resolution operator. This tells our code that this cout is defined within STD. Okay? I hope this makes sense. Now STD is a part of IOStream. It is defined inside it, and it has some standard other keywords as well. Identifiers. I should say identifiers. Cout is an identifier. And अभी इस मैं endline से पहले भी same चीज करूँगा. I'll just say STD and scope resolution operator. So I'm specifically telling the compiler, I'm specifically telling my code that these particular key identifiers belong to the namespace STD. They are defined there. Cool. I hope this makes sense. And right now, what I will do is I'll execute this code. And I'll tell you a trick in VS Code to do that. Just press Control plus tilt. Now tilt is the button right below your escape key, or you can say right to the left of your number pad 1. So the top rows or the first leftmost top key below escape, that is your tilt button. So I'm just going to press Control plus tilt. I'll also write the shortcut here for you guys, CTRL plus this button. So I'll just press that button and my terminal pops up. Now this terminal is within VS Code. I'll delete it and open it up again. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'll change directory to my particular folder where I am in. This is a terminal command cd, change directory to day 1. Now why I'm changing to day 1? Because हमने code day 1 folder के अंदर रखा है. So I just came into that directory, and if I write ls, we can see our code is here. This is the source code, right? This is our source code. I'm going to execute it. Now, during compiler installation, WinGW installation, you might have seen G++ version wali command last में उसने execute करा था, which tells that there is a G++ installed in our computer. Now, if don't worry about different IDEs, if you're on different IDEs, I hope there is a direct button to execute your code, right? In Dev C++, there it is. If you're on CLion, it is already there. So I'll just execute this code very quick. I'll say G++, and after that, you give the name of the code which you want to execute. I'll say hello.cpp. After that, after that, I'll not use the next command. We'll see that later. I'll just say G++ hello.cpp and I'll hit enter. So it just executed and कोई error नहीं आया, ठीक है? Basically, next line आ गया means there was no error. And now, if I write ls again, that is list all the contents in my directory, or you can see here, there is a hello.cpp file and there is a new file, a.out. So if I write a.out, actually I have to define it within here, .french-a.out. So if I run a.out, you can see the code just executed and it gave us our first output. So congrats for that. Just imagine कि मेरे screen पे हर जगह भी balloons and glitters उड़ रहे हैं. Congratulations for executing a first code. Okay, cool. Can someone give me quick information if this worked for all of you? If you have any doubts, just feel free to ping it right here. अब इसमें एक छोटी सी problem है guys. The problem is eventually we are going to print out a lot of stuff, but is it feasible for us कि हम हर बार std operator लिखते जाएं, right? Just give me a second, guys. If you have any doubts, just ping it right here. Okay, so I hope there was no doubt. This is the code, and let's just change this. हम हर बार specifically नहीं बोलेंगे कि this identifier is defined there, this identifier is defined there. Rather, what we will do is we'll use something called a keyword using namespace. We'll directly tell the entire code that this code is going to use this namespace. I'll say using namespace std. Remember, we used to say std scope resolution cout. Rather, starting से बोल देंगे अगर कोई particular identifier का definition नहीं मिल रहा है, then look for it here. Look for it here. Now this again will work similarly. I'll execute it again and I'll say a.out, and you can see it works fine. Now there is a different usage of this G++ that you should know. Once you write hello G++ and the name of your program, there is something you can also say. You can just say -o, that is output file. What to name the output file. By default, it is a.out. You can see automatically a.out file form हो रही थी. Let's say you wanted to give it your name. I'll say -o diviso. And now I'm gonna run the code. And if I say ls, you will see there is a new file named diviso. So I just have to say diviso, and if I hit enter, you will get the same result. So that is the use case of different flags inside G++. If you want to go into more details, you can just say G++ help, and you will get an entire list that you can do. You can feel free to explore it, but basically G++ -o is the most commonly used one. And with that being said, I will give the session over to Shachit Saini sir. He has something very insightful to share with you. Okay, before that, just one thing, guys, I missed out. I said I'm going to show you what exactly the binary looks like. So there is a command in Linux which helps us to see inside our code. If I write cat hello.cpp, you can see हमारी पूरी कोड हमें दिख रही है टर्मिनल पे. And what if I write cat a.out? a.out was the compiled file जो हमें compiler ने दिया था. And if I hit enter, see, this is what it looks like. It's in binary and some parts are totally different. We cannot understand what it says, and This is exactly why we need translators. Can you imagine? Can you imagine to write something like this? हमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा, लिखना तो दूर की बात है, right? So that is why we need translators, because they do this painful job for us. They convert it into binary so that we can just write the code in simple English but high level language and execute it. So with that being said, I'll hand over the session to Kshitij sir. He has something very insightful to share with you.
ओके एवरीवन, सो अभी तक आपने देखा कि हमने डाटा के साथ काम कर दिया, हमने उसको प्रिंट भी करा दिया. तो थोड़ा अब आगे आते हैं और आज का सेशन थोड़ा 7:30 तक करते हैं. लेट अस मेक इट अ बिट फर्दर because there are some of the topics that you need to understand, and from tomorrow we will try to finish it till 7:15 or 7. And now that you have worked with data, we have printed the message on the screen, but what? We cannot perform everything by printing it, so we need to store the data as well. तो अब हमको डाटा स्टोर करना है. स्टोर करने के लिए हमको कोई ना कोई स्पेस चाहिए जहाँ पे हम स्टोर करेंगे डाटा को. सो देर आर वेरियस डाटा टाइप्स. मतलब कि डाटा टाइप्स क्या हैं, डाटा टाइप्स हम क्यों स्टोर करते हैं, चलो वो चीज़ देखते हैं हम थोड़ी. अभी जो भी चीज़ आप स्टोर करोगे दे विल बी स्टोर्ड इन वेरिएबल्स, और वेरिएबल्स का कॉन्सेप्ट एक बार कल कवर होगा. एंड लाइक देयर इज अ गैरेज. सो अगर हम देखें कि मेरे पास गैरेज है, एक इतने साइज का गैरेज है, एक इतने साइज का गैरेज है, और एक इतने साइज का गैरेज है. जो ये छोटा गैरेज है, लाइक दिस इज स्मॉल गैरेज, इट कैन हियर वी कैन पार्क आवर बाइक्स. So bike can be parked over here, but in this garage, now what we will be parking? We will be parking our car, and in a larger, more garage, we can park a truck. So there is a different garages for different vehicles. But what we can also do, we can also park a bike in a truck garage. But what if we have a constraint that we can park only a single vehicle in a garage? So what it will do, it will waste all of the extra space. So now this will be the concept of data types and different variables. And as all of you are requesting that to end the session by 7:15 or 7:30, so let us make it till that only. So you can ask your question, and we will cover the data types and variables in the next session. You can ask your question, and in the question session, it will also extend up till 7:15 or 7:30. So feel free to ask your questions, and if you have any. Also, Sarthak is there to make some of the announcement regarding the course. So Sarthak, you can make the announcement regarding the course as well.
Thank you very much, all of you, to present over here. On the behalf of Question Mark, on the behalf of Coach, IUCEE, Prep Bytes, I would like to thank all the audience, those who are in the session today. We are very, very happy to have you all. Guys, in the end, I would like to make few announcements. First announcement is this, this whole series is, powered by Prep Bytes. And, at the end of this series, we will have a great contest, national level coding competition. Okay. In this, top winners will be, rewarded by the Prep Bytes and Question Mark. And guys, in this whole series, we will have webinars with industry mentors, like they are mentors from Google, they are mentors from Red Hat. Those who will be there on our channel, those who have some gigs on our channel and tell you what could be better for you. Now guys, least but at last, I would like to share the attendance form. You can find the attendance form in the description. Do fill the attendance form every day. Each and every day you will get the attendance form in the description only. Attendance form will be open till 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock you can fill the attendance form till 9 o'clock. Okay, now I'm ending this session, but there is something special for you guys. I already tell you yesterday that if we cross 1K subscribers, then we have a surprise for you guys. Today there will be a great session by our Reddit mentor on CFC, that is Cheers with Gaurav. We have a session on Cheers with Gaurav. He's Gaurav Sharma sir, who is our Reddit mentor, and today he will have a great session on how to make world record, how students can pursue and create history in terms of world record. So do watch this session. you will get the session link in the description, guys. Okay, so I think if you have any question, so please you can ask in the you can ask.
Sarthak, let us dedicate next 10 minutes for the Q&A session,
Okay,
and
okay, no problem.
let us answer the questions. So there is a question by Raju Singh, and he is saying that the session needs to be basic and we are done with the terminal. No, we are not done with the terminal. It was like we have to execute our first code, so we proceeded a little fast with the terminal as due to the efficiency of time. We will do much things in the terminal, and you will get to learn terminal as well from the basics. So you should not feel like we are done with the terminal thing and all. Now, next question, like attendance form. So, Sarthak, are you there? And is there attendance form for today's session? Sarthak, your mic is muted. If you can unmute and tell regarding this.
Okay, so guys, it's in the description. Please refresh once. You will get in the description as well. I also send in the chat section. So please, watch that as well. Guys, this series is starting from very basics, and our team dot question mark done a great job. They are doing they are preparing for this series from past 1 to 2 months. Not only this series, we are coming up with DSA, we are coming up with AWS, Azure, we are coming up with all the domains which will need in the industry. So guys, do participate in this series, because this series will create the wonders for you guys. And most probably we will cover almost 50 to 60 questions which will come in the coding competition of Google, Microsoft, and all the big MNCs and all. So link is not working. Link is working. Shreya, I think link is working. Guys, can you tell me if the link is working or not?
Sarthak, let me check, and till then let us please let the team connect with the team and check for the link. Until then, let us cover some of the question. And there is a question by Gautami that syntax was different in Codeblocks. It is not that the syntax was different. It was like you should have used the namespace, but there is not a single way to perform a task. There are multiple ways. So we will let you know all of the syntax. It is not that we have shown one of the syntax and you will not get to know the other syntax. You will also get to know the other syntax as well. But please continue with the session, and if you have any queries, you can always ask on Telegram, as all of the community members are present on the Telegram channel as well.
Exactly.
And please record the session. There is some.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, I was telling the reason that I showed you that we have to write std, then scope resolution operator and cout, is that I wanted to show you how painful it is to write, manually add it everywhere, and then I showed you the easy way of how not to do that. So I just wanted to give you, different perspectives. I hope that made some sense to you, like help you to understand there is a bad way to do it, a difficult one, and then there is an easy way to do it.
And now continuing with Abid, please record the session. Abid, the sessions are recorded, and the class duration will be 1 to 1.5 hours per day. It will end maximum by 7:30. So be prepared. Sometimes it can be 7 because some of the topics take much of the time. And now, Sarthak, there is a major of the audience that is saying that attendance link is not working. If you can.
Attendance link is working, and I got almost let me tell you, I got 217 responses till now. Attendance link is working fine, guys. Please refresh the window and you will get the attendance link on the description, and I think the link I have shared, that is also working, guys. Please,
and also, guys, regarding the attendance thing, we will open the form till 9 or 10 p.m. every day, and the viewers who are watching later in this video, they can also fill the link, but the link will be disabled after 9:30 p.m. in the evening. So
okay, so someone just continue.
There is some continue.
Yeah, I was just telling, someone just asked a doubt. It's a good question, that what is the difference between a library and a header file? Actually, library and header files are not two different things. Header file is basically, the name of the file, the functionality that it is providing. जैसे IOStream is the name of the file. That is the functionality जो वो provide कर रहा है. वो input output streaming, that is printing and accepting inputs में help करता है. And then there is actually the library file जो हमने discuss करा था, the pre-compiled binary, the library file. That entire binary is present in the library file, and then every library has a header file जो बताता है compiler को मैं ये functionality provide करूंगा, and फिर internally वो उस code को भी pre-compiled form में provide करता है. So the header is actually a part of the library, and then it also has a binary. Every library has two part, a header जो तुम्हें बताता है कि वो क्या functionality provide करने वाला है, and then there is the binary which actually provides that functionality, applies the algorithm and does the hard work.
Also, regarding the some of the people are asking to share the link again. The link is in the description. You can please do not look at live chat because it will be lost. You can look at the description. The link will be present. And for the Telegram link is also present in the description of the channel. So you can continue with the Telegram link in the description also. And the classes, some of you are asking about the classes. So we are expecting the classes to be of 15 to 20 days. But if we get some of the advanced topic, and if we get enthusiasm and enthusiastic response from you, we will extend it to further. We will extend it further. And there is someone who has asked, we will cover Git and GitHub as well. Yes, Git and GitHub will be covered as well, and all the notes, like all the notes for today, handwritten notes will be shared to you in your respective WhatsApp group. So feel free that you will get all of the content. Do not worry about the content.
Okay, guys. So I think that's all for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask now. We are here for 5 more minutes. Then you can ask your doubts on Telegram. I think Telegram link is not in the description. Guys, do follow us on LinkedIn, GitHub, and Instagram. Today we have shared you some GitHub, link where you can learn GitHub from very basics. So do join the class of GitHub, which we have shared on your respective WhatsApp group and Telegram group. So I think
there is a doubt.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
By Ramanpreet Singh. Hello.
Pawan, if you are asking to elaborate STD out, please wait for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will elaborate STD out and the namespaces as well. And Kunal is asking to share the code. So we will create a GitHub repository and we will share all of the code in that. And we will share the GitHub repository link in your WhatsApp groups. So you can keep up with the GitHub repository per day.
Yeah. And someone just asked that why did we write int before main? Now by Ramanpreet Singh. Yeah. So the reason that we wrote int before main is that in the last line of main you just saw that we were return 0 to tell the operating system that code was successful. It was successfully completed. So since it is returning an integer value, we have to write int before main. It tells the operating system that this function is going to return an integer, and details of functions, defining our own different functions, will do all of that in this bootcamp.
The Mansi, the DSA session will be conducted after the C++ session. Actually, some of the people face issues while practicing DSA because they start with DSA, but if they don't know the basics, how can someone start with some of the advanced concepts like DSA? So to be familiar with DSA and competitive programming like things, you first need to clear your basics, and all the lectures are recorded, so you can also refer it sometime later, and the sessions will be available on YouTube channel of .. till YouTube is present.
Exactly. And here's a good question. If I haven't used return 0, then no need of int. जो तुम्हारा compiler है ना, it is automatically going to add a return 0 into your code because it is necessary. If the operating system does not know the status of the code, then it is going to be a problem. So return 0 has to be there. If you don't write it, it will automatically be added during compilation, and therefore int is necessary. And
also,
another question,
Manish, you need to join both of the groups. The WhatsApp group is only for the announcement purpose. Here the announcement will be given, and therefore it has only the permission for admin to send the messages. But for Telegram group is more like a community. where you can connect with all of the 2000 learners and you can connect with them regarding any of the doubts you have. They and all of the support team will be there to guide you, and we will also teach you STL, Shivam, so no need to worry about that. How to install compiler, we have sent a video and we will share it again in the Telegram and WhatsApp group as well. And we don't know how to use Git and GitHub, we will conduct a Git and GitHub session as well, and you will get the notes on your WhatsApp group. And for the Telegram, we have shared the link in the live section, and Sarthak, I think Sarthak has also updated in the description as well.
And guys, one more small announcement is there. Today we have a quiz at 10 o'clock. We will live a quiz at Instagram, on our Instagram channel. We will have a quiz today. What you have learned today, and it will be a great interactive quiz. So please participate if you want. Okay, so our Instagram link is over here. You can follow us on Instagram as well.
Sarthak sir, just pin these chats. They can access, so that they can access right now. Questions पे ऊपर चले जा रहे हैं.
Okay.
We have put the description, the links in our description as well, so they can watch the description as well. All the links are present in the description as well. Also, you can use any of the compiler and any of the IDE. We can use any of the compiler and any of the IDE, and we have already sent a video in the WhatsApp group regarding the compiler setup. Jatin, we will share the video again in the WhatsApp group, in your WhatsApp groups. So, and please be prepared, and please make sure your setup is ready before tomorrow's session, because it will help you a lot if you compile the code side by side.
Yes, guys, you will get the notes. Please make the quiz.
I will share these notes till 9 or 9:15 today, and do not worry about that.
Okay, you will get, guys, coding quiz exercise and all in the Telegram as well as WhatsApp group. We will share all the details in our WhatsApp and Telegram groups. Don't be panic. Do join the Telegram groups. Topics what we have studied today. It will be a small quiz based on these topics only. Okay, guys. So thank you very much, guys. I think that's all for today. And now, if anyone have any question, they can ask on our Telegram channel. Guys, all the links are in the description. Link of WhatsApp group. Guys, WhatsApp group, our team is adding the members from the backend side. So we can't provide the WhatsApp group link, but you can join the Telegram channel. Our team will help you out over there. Okay. We will share all the details on WhatsApp group as well. Yes, we will share all the details on WhatsApp and Telegram both.
That's why WhatsApp group is differently dedicated for announcement purpose only. That's why we are not making the WhatsApp group open for everyone, so that the announcements are not missed for every of the learner. We are for the discussion purpose, there is a Telegram group only. So I think let us wind up the today's session, and if you have any of the further queries, you can directly ping us anytime on the Telegram channel, and we will be happy to help and connect with you. Thank you, everyone.